Prince Harry. Pot, kettle. This week, Prince Harry decided to step down from Centre Barley, which was a charity formed in 2006 in memory of his late mother, Diana, Princess of Wales, to help AIDS orphans in southern Africa. Now, Centre Barley actually means forget-me-not, and I think it's that we talk about this today on Mothering Sunday. Sophie Chanduka is the chair of the charity he set up and has accused him of harassment and bullying at scale after Harry and several others quit the organisation earlier this week. She claimed that the Duke of Sussex was said to have initiated the campaign by unleashing the unleashing of the Sussex machine. So has the bullied become the bully? Remember this? Yet now it appears Harry has been accused of doing the very same thing that he's complaining about. It all started apparently during the fundraiser. Remember the video of Meghan moving the charity boss, that's Sophie, out of the way during a polo match, raising funds for the charity. She wasn't moving her out of the way of the game, by the way. It was out of a photo shoot. Netflix were apparently filming, which, according to reports, hadn't been agreed by the charity boss, and the rift appears to have started there. Harry himself has also repeatedly used the media to berate his family in the form of that global interview with Oprah. How could we forget when he and his wife gaslit the world into believing that there was a racist in the royal family, only to later deny that that's what it was meant because he didn't actually use the word racist, instead calling it unconscious bias in an interview with Tom Bradbury years later. At no point before that did he correct the narrative with the press, if that was the case. The royal family suffered horribly, and the Queen went to her grave with this hanging over her legacy. There was a documentary where he, in my view, they insulted the UK. And, of course, how could we forget the book Spare, full of insults towards his family and things that are better left unsaid out loud, at least. And it came across to many as a whinge fest from someone who is incredibly privileged. Prince Harry's main mission since he and his wife, Meghan, chose to leave the royal family has been to teach the press a lesson. He's been through continual lawsuits because of the way he feels that he's been treated. But now a similar complaint has been levied against him. Sophie told the media, "The only reason I'm here is because at some point on Tuesday, Prince Harry authorised the release of a damaging piece of news to the outside world without informing me or my country directors or many executive directors," she said. And can you imagine what that attack has done for me and the 540 individuals in Centre Barley, the organisation, and their family? That is an example of harassment and bullying at scale. She alleged issues of poor governance, weak executive management, abuse of power, bullying, harassment, misogyny and misogynoir. And she has also reported Centre Barley's trustees to the Charity Commission in the UK and filed papers in a British court to prevent her removal. She claims beneath all the victim narrative and fiction that has been syndicated to the press is a story of a woman who dared to blow the whistle about the issue of poor governance, weak executive management, abuse of power, bullying, harassment, misogyny and misogynoir.
In today's segment, GB News host Nana Akua doesn't hold back. She dives straight into Prince Harry's latest controversies, calling out what she sees as a royal mess that the Duke of Sussex has made of his public and royal life. Let's unpack her passionate take, point by point. Nana begins by reflecting on how Prince Harry went from one of the most loved royals to one of the most divisive figures in Britain. She recalls the public sympathy he once had, especially after the loss of Princess Diana, and contrasts it with how his reputation has shifted since stepping back from royal duties. Akua doesn't mince words. She argues that Harry has made poor choices, from media interviews to his memoir Spare. Each, she says, has only deepened the rift between him, his family, and the public. Her tone sharpens as she questions his decision to air family grievances on a global stage. At this point, Nana touches on Meghan Markle's role. She suggests that the Duchess has had a strong influence on Harry's path, though she frames it as part of a larger issue: Harry's seeming inability to navigate life outside the royal institution. The tone here becomes more personal, highlighting public perception rather than just royal politics. Akua points out that while Harry and Meghan claim they're victims of relentless media intrusion, they often step back into the spotlight by choice. She calls this a contradiction, one that fuels public confusion and criticism. Nana broadens the conversation to how Harry's actions have affected the royal family's image. She notes that the institution is built on tradition and unity, values she believes Harry has undermined through personal disputes made public. Closing her commentary, Akua asserts that Prince Harry has, in her words, made a royal mess out of absolutely everything, from his personal relationships to his public standing. Her message is clear: respect, restraint, and responsibility are what the royal brand depends on, and she believes Harry has lost sight of all three.
Well, a close source to Prince Harry and other trustees who left Centre Bali this week said that they fully expected this publicity stunt from Dr. Chandorkar. They remain firm in their resignation and look forward to the adjudication of the truth. Wow. And what a royal mess Prince Harry has made of absolutely everything. You know what? I am actually beginning to feel sorry for him. Oh, hold on. Am I falling into the victimhood trap? After all, you couldn't get more high profile. It's definitely not short of a few bob. So before we get stuck into the debate, here's what else is coming up today. For the Great British debate this hour, I'm asking, do you trust Labour to clamp down on illegal immigrants working? The government is promising to crack down on the rise of illegal workers to the gig economy. Then, is Britain failing its young people? The Mayor of Greater Manchester Police will declare Whitehall has left a generation behind this week. And I'll be joined by royal commentator Caroline Ashton for the Royal Roundup. All of that on the way. As ever, send me your thoughts, post your comments, gbnews.com/your say. Right, I'm joined now by activist and commentator Peter Tatchell. Peter, welcome on board. Lovely to talk to you this afternoon. Am I totally wrong? I do feel a bit sorry for him now after everything he's made a mess of.
Well, I am no fan of the royal family, as you all know. I'm very critical of the royals, but I do think in this particular case, none of us really know what went on. It's one person's word against another. What I would say is that not only Prince Harry resigned from the charity, but also the Prince of Lesotho, who was another patron. He resigned as well, and so did the entire trustee board of the charity in protest at the way in which Dr. Sophie was behaving. And it's only after that that she came out with these allegations. So,
well, she wouldn't come out with it before because they wouldn't have resigned. And if, you know, we've seen people behave act as a pack, and that's what kind of bullying can be, can't it? So, especially if she's saying it's misogynoir, maybe she's saying against a black woman, even though the partner that Prince runs the charity or is with is also black. But she is saying that that's the problem. It's a bullying, and that's left over 500 people potentially out of work or in trouble, and the charity in trouble.
Well, if that is the case, why did all the trustees of the charity resign? The initial action was the trustees resigned because they weren't happy with Dr. Sophie's chairmanship. They did not like the way she was behaving, and it was only after they all resigned that Prince Harry and the Prince of Lesotho also resigned. So the initiation came not from Prince Harry, but from the trustees of the charity who felt that it was not being properly run under Dr. Sophie's stewardship. Now, I'm not saying whether they're right or wrong, but they can't all be part of a grand conspiracy, I don't think.
But it could not have been orchestrated, though, you know, because if you have power and privilege, it is, you know, easy to get people to kind of do what you want. Look, I don't know the story, but at the end of the day, this is one woman who's fighting, and what she was upset about was she felt that they were using the charity as part of the PR machine rather than actually helping the charity, because since they had been affiliated with the charity, initially it was successful, but then it seems that the Sussex brand has been somewhat toxic and the charity's not raising much money.
Well, that is what she is saying, but we also have to remember all the donors, or not all the donors, but I think most of the donors have quit because they're not happy, apparently, with Dr. Sophie either. Now, I don't know whether that is the reason, but that seems to be coinciding. Why have they suddenly stopped their donations in consequence of of what the trustees said. Let's get back to the beginning. The trustees of the charity said they were not happy with Dr. Sophie and being in charge of the charity, that her behavior and leadership was not up to the mark. Now, that's what they're saying. I can't pass judgment on that. But I find it really difficult to believe that all these trustees would resign en masse unless there was a serious issue against the chairperson. And that the donors would not leave the charity and ditch their support if they also didn't have a problem. But as you say, it'll be up to an adjudication by the Charity Commission to determine the truth.
Also, would you apply that same kind of logic to the fact that, you know, there have been many people who've worked for Meghan Markle that have said things about her, that said that she's a bully and this, that and the other. You know, they can't all be, again, they can't all be wrong either, can they? Because there's lots of people who've said that, and a lot of people who've worked with her are all saying that. So, again, they can't be wrong then, can they?
Well,
all of them.
No one knows if Meghan Markle had any role in this at all. I mean, as far as I know, she's not involved.
Well, no, I mean, let's take it out from the charity. I'm saying that let's think of the bullying allegations that have come towards Meghan, not with regard to the charity, but for other things. My point is that if we're going to use that logic, then we have to believe a lot of the allegations or take on board the fact that many people, for not particularly this thing, but for other things, have said that Meghan's a bully.
Well, that may be the case, but again, we don't know. It's a case of one person says something, another person says something different. We just do not know. And I'm very reluctant to rush to judgment, either against Dr. Sophie, who may well have some valid points, and definitely not against Prince Harry and the trustees and the donors, who have left, apparently, allegedly, because they think Dr. Sophie has not behaved properly. Now,
yeah,
you know, we just don't know. But I just think we have to be really careful until the full facts are established. And the real losers in this, of course, are the many people, African people, who will not be getting the support, the care, the treatment that they need. This is a great charity which does great work. And it's a tragedy that it's come to this, that the charity's future now is under threat.
Yeah, it is kind of sad, really. I would have liked to have seen them not resign. It feels like an orchestrated sort of resignation in stages, which would have been nicer for them to really talk it through, because ultimately, you are absolutely right, the only people they should really be thinking about are those people who they're meant to be helping. Peter Tatchell, thank you very much.
The trustees were very clear. They were the ones who made the decision or delivered the opinion that Dr. Sophie was not running the charity correctly.
Yeah, well,
they were the ones who made that decision. It was only later that Prince Harry and the Prince of Lesotho then decided to resign in solidarity.
Well, obviously they wanted her to go, didn't they, by the sounds of it, and she didn't, and she clearly wanted to stay to try and help with the over 500 people that work within that charity, and I think they could have come to a better agreement. Especially, I'm not impressed with any of this at all.